Of course, Saturn, one of the beautiful gas giants in our solar system with the beautiful rings. But studying the planet itself has been incredibly important. Saturn has more than 60 moons. Can't see them all, but we saw approximately 24 of them. This is Enceladus. This is a small moon just outside the rings of Saturn. Of course, is the beautiful Titan. This moon is bigger than the planet Mercury. Because of the importance of Enceladus that Cassini has shown us, and of Titan, another potential world that could be habitable for life, perhaps not like we know it, but perhaps completely different than ours, we had to make decisions on how to dispose of the spacecraft. And that led us inevitably to the plan of taking Cassini and plunging it into Saturn.
Hey guys, Will here again, and today I'd like to talk to you about the moon and the shadows on the moon. They just don't make sense to me. And in particular, what doesn't make sense to me is when the moon and the sun both are visible in the sky at the same time. I only got to the second page of results on those, and I just have too much. Pretty much the first page just kind of sealed the deal for me. Now let me show you why I have problems with this and what I have a problem about. So what we're looking at is we're looking at video where the moon is being shown and so is the sun at the same time. Okay, and that sun is not down below the horizon. Now, what I question when I see these two things in the sky at the same time is, okay, let's go ahead and let's look at the moon. Well, what am I looking at the moon? I'm looking at what does the shadow look like on the moon. Okay, so let's look at this. What does the shadow look like? It doesn't seem to be quite a full moon, does it? Wow. It just doesn't, seems to be cut off there. And it seems to be a C-shaped. Right here, it seems to be C-shaped. But this is opposite of the way that it should be if you were getting some shadow from the Earth. So as we see this, the shadow of the Earth, if we would see it, which I don't think we would see it because we can see the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time. So how can the Earth be in the middle of that? But even if there was, or a partial shade or a partial shadow because of our atmosphere, from this perspective here, from this perspective, it would be an upside down C, more like an N. But this is opposite. It's not a full moon here, people. So that just doesn't make sense. Okay, well, why do we see the moon in the daytime? And this is pretty much what he's showing, and this guy's going to go ahead and explain this for everybody. So let's go ahead and listen to this from him.
Well, it is actually a common misconception, you see, because quite often people think that the sun and the moon are opposite of each other. If this were true, then you would only see the moon at night. But as you may know, that is evidently not true. Well, just like the Earth is subject to the sun's gravity, the moon is also subject to Earth's gravitational pull and is forced to rotate around us. However, there is one time in a lunar cycle that the moon and sun are opposite of each other. This is at a full moon, when they are 180 degrees away from each other. When the moon is 90 degrees away, you have your first quarter moon. When the moon passes between the sun and the Earth, you get a new moon. This is also when solar eclipses can occur. When the moon is another 90 degrees away, you have your third quarter moon, and then finally it goes back to a full moon and completes the cycle after 29.53 days. Horizons are roughly 12.
Okay, guys. So if you see there, he actually kind of, in my opinion, busted himself out. And he says right here, and now, I'm not saying that I can prove things from what he's saying, that he's completely wrong or that this whole moon model is wrong based on what he's saying. But here, he says, there is one time when the moon is completely on the other side of the sun, and that's how we get the full moon. If this is completely on the other side of the sun, how is it a full moon? How is it getting any sunlight at all? Remember, look, he's even showing 180 degrees on the opposite side. Watch, he talks about it. He says there's one time. So either he doesn't know what he's talking about, or the model doesn't jive.
However, there is one time in the lunar cycle that the moon and sun are opposite of each other. This is at a full moon, when they are 180 degrees away from each other.
He said there, when the moon and sun are opposite of each other in relation to the Earth, to us. So how would it be getting any illumination at all? Just doesn't make sense to me, guys. So this is this guy named Simple Elucidations. I guess that's some kind of education or something like that. I don't know, but I'm just saying, this doesn't make sense to me. How, if the moon is over here, I don't know. So what we're looking at here is, this is another one. I'm going to turn off the sound and play this for you. This is Pinyacker 01 right there. So he shows this crescent moon. Sorry. Oh, man, I messed up. Apologize. He shows this crescent moon, and to me, there's no way. Okay, now, so what we don't know about this shot here, this composition, is we don't know where the sun is. We can look, and it kind of appears that over here on the left is the sun. So if the sun is over here on the left, how is the Earth making the shadow over here on this part of the moon? How is the Earth between the sun and the moon making that shadow? I don't quite know. Here's another one. This is this E-purse, sun and moon upon Yahweh's flat earth. And it's kind of the same thing. He's just really, looking at the... I'll just play this through. He's just looking at the moon here, and then he's looking at the sun. And I just don't know how this shadow is coming about. So let me just pause that right there. How this shadow... we might be able to find it better. I just don't understand how this... Okay, so either the only way to get this flat type of shadow and the perfect half illumination of this moon, and you can see that here, perfect half illumination, well, it's not perfect, but this one is pretty good half illumination there. It's not much curve there. So how are we going to get that half illumination here? Well, to me, the only way would be if the sun is up here, we'd have to be really far out, exactly 90 degrees up here, and shining and illuminating half of that globe like that. Or the Earth is in between it. But if the Earth is in between it, how does the Earth make a straight shadow? As we play this video, we can see that the Earth is not between it, and that sun is not at that perfect 90-degree arc for that moon. This is a pretty good video. I really like this one. I wish it was a little higher quality, but hey, what can you do, man? I mean, take video yourself if you want better. Alright, so we're done with that one. Let's look at the next one. Again, I only looked at the first couple pages, guys. I didn't go very in-depth to the videos at all. There's got to be more of them. Okay, so this guy does the same thing. He says it's about 4 o'clock. He's looking. He says, okay, there's the sun. And just for reference, this is Wellness 81. Moon and sun both visible during daytime. Okay? I'm not trying to cover up anything. I was just trying to show you his name. Give him a little credit. And so what you see there as he zooms in, okay, so that's maybe a little more realistic shadow. Only a little portion of that is kind of shaded, and the sun is kind of, okay, the sun's kind of there, right? The sun's kind of there, and you know, the moon, yeah, the moon's there, and the earth in between. But wait, now something isn't adding up. If we look at this again, we're looking at a C-shaped shadow. How would that not be an in-shaped shadow with the curve of the earth making the shadow? There's just things that I don't understand about this. Another question is, has the rotation of the earth, the rotation of the moon around the earth for the one full cycle, where they say it's like 27 days, has that changed? And I ask, has it changed, because the moon's constantly moving away from us. So here we have another shot. It's kind of hard to see it. You see here, that's not a good shot. Kind of a crescent, right? Okay, well, the moon, once he looks over, sorry, I'll let this play through. The sun is over here to the left, this strong section here. He comes down, and he comes down to the ground here, and then he moves over to the left, and there's the sun. So that sun is huge compared to that moon. Okay? So I just don't see how we get the shadow. And this is Malachi the Zealous. I just don't see how we get that shadow of that moon. I don't see how we get the shadow of that moon just like that. How it could be that shaped. Just doesn't make sense. Good video, Malachi. I appreciate it. Okay, the next video comes from Ilganus. Rare natural earth. Natural event, sun and moon visible at the same time. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at, here we have in the distance, and this isn't really conclusive, and mainly I'm saying that because it's hard to see this, and two, once I show you over here, the sun is barely just rising, and when the sun rises, it gets very hard to see them. Ooh, there's a good shot of the moon, eh? So that sun just rose, and you're seeing the full shot of the moon. Okay, well, we get shots like this, almost exactly like this, with the moon and the sun at the same time, and we're getting shadows. Okay. Well, how can it be the same for both of them? How can the same phenomena produce two different patterns on the moon? Okay, this next one comes from Smokey 66662. Moon still visible at 12:30 in the afternoon, and sun halos. What the French toast, he's saying. Okay, so kind of see the moon there, and sorry about that. This was the one where it was kind of hard to see. Guys, I'm just kind of skeptical. Okay, I don't. This next video is from Wicca. New moon, crescent moon with setting sun against the blood red clouds. I'm just skeptical. I don't really see how this is working with our globe model just doesn't seem right. You want us to explain everything, but we're saying there's unexplained things in reality. Okay, so you see that sun, you see that moon, that's a definite C-shaped. Okay. Now, if the moon is so, this is what part of my problem is. If the moon is so close, either it's one or the other. Either the moon is really far away and that's how we get all this sun exposure from it, or the moon's close enough to affect all of our tides. Is it possible both the moon and the sun are closer than they tell us? Is it possible we don't know everything about our moon? Is it possible that our moon is fabricated? I mean, how else do we get these perfect waxing, waning crescents? Just doesn't seem to make sense to me. And I would love to see a realistic model that shows how those crescents are formed and how all those lighting, the quarters especially, how those are all, they become flat because that's just the way the shadow shows onto a globe. You take a curved shadow and you put it onto a globe and it just becomes flat. Or show how, you know, there's these specific times when it's just 100% half of the moon is lit and we only see half of that half ever and it's just perfect. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm just looking for your help, guys. Help me debunk this. If I have this moon stuff completely wrong, just let me know. Explain to me how. Don't just tell me I'm stupid or it's physics or it's gravity. If you can prove that the moon phases that it goes through are true and accurate, it should be easy to do. Thanks again, guys. Judge for yourself. Will here. And, you know, same as always. You create your own perception of reality. Don't take other people's words.
And that led us inevitably to the plan of taking Cassini and plunging it into Saturn.
Hey guys, Will here again, and today I'd like to talk to you about the moon and the shadows on the moon. They just don't make sense to me. And in particular, what doesn't make sense to me is when the moon and the sun both are visible in the sky at the same time. I only got to the second page of results on those, and I just have too much. Pretty much the first page just kind of sealed the deal for me. Now let me show you.
Studying the planet itself has been incredibly important. Saturn has more than 60 moons. Can't see them all, but we saw approximately 24 of them. This is Enceladus. This is a small moon just outside the rings of Saturn. Of course, is the beautiful Titan. This moon is bigger than the planet Mercury because of the importance of Enceladus that Cassini has shown us, and of Titan, another potential world that could be habitable for life, perhaps not like we know it, but perhaps completely different than ours. We had to make decisions on how to dispose of the spacecraft. Of course, Saturn, one of the beautiful gas giants in our solar system with the beautiful rings. It's